Und wir gucken jetzt noch ein bisschen rein ins Video, weil wir haben nur auf den Formcheck reagiert und auf die KFA-Messung. Urs hat ein KFA von unter 11%. Körperfettanalyse mit Greg Doucette. Wir gucken jetzt weiter. Den ersten Part findet ihr bei mir auf dem Hauptkanal. Wir gucken uns ein bisschen hier das weitere Video an.
I started lifting weights with my dad, my twin brother, when I was 10 in the basement with like the old like plastic weights with the cement. And then I just loved it. I was strong even from the get-go. And then I saw an episode of That's Incredible where this 13-year-old was doing the lat spreads and pose. I'm like, I'm gonna do that one day. My dad's like, there's no way
Scheiß Fliege oder Mücke fliegt hier rum.
you do bodybuilding. All I ate was junk. I had the worst diet in the world. All I ate was desserts. Like the worst food diet in the world. He's like, there's no way you can do bodybuilding. I have to eat healthy to do that. And so fast forward 20 years and
crazy.
I certainly changed that.
What I like to do is traveling around the world, training with a lot of guys and see how they're gonna train. And I trained with Hassan, with Ian in the last months.
Yeah.
And now I can see like the difference of training.
Das ist echt krass bei Urs, ne? Der trainiert mit jedem Star, Alter, Übersee. Dort drüben mit den Kanadiern, mit den Amis, mit allen, Alter, und kann sich das Beste vom Besten abgucken. Das ist so krass, wie viel Input der bekommt, der Junge, ne?
And what's funny, everybody has their own kind of
Different,
training
unique
style.
twist to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you meet 20 guys to train with, and you take one tip from each guy, you just learn 20 new tips that could make or break your training.
For example, Hassan is training so light, or he can go so much heavier, but he trains so precise and doing everything perfectly.
It's like Phil Heath.
Yeah.
He
Phil Heath auch, der trainiert auf ganz entspannt, ne?
uses the lightest weight that he can still get the same resistance. He just concentrates a certain way. That way he doesn't overtrain the body, he doesn't get injured. He can keep training into his 40s with no problem.
What do you think worked best for you?
I think
when
it's
you
somewhere
see
in
your
the
whole
middle.
career? Was it the high volume stuff, or like everybody's doing now, the high intensity 2 sets, back of thing?
I think it's a bit of both. I think that if you do too much volume, you can't train with the intensity. And if you train with too much intensity, you can't get enough volume. Somewhere in between. I think it's got to be a compromise.
Yeah.
And I also think it's important.
Warum hat der eigentlich hier so eine angenehme Stimme und sonst immer so eine hohe Drecks-Mickey-Maus-Stimme, der Coach Greg Doucette hier?
Important to match up what you like doing. So if you like doing a lot of volume, but you don't want to really train hard, well, that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to push really hard like I do, then do less volume, because you need to enjoy the workouts that you're doing.
You can go harder.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, I also like the intensity more, but I don't know how to regulate the volume perfectly, because sometimes I think, hey, I'm not sore or something, and I can go way more. But do you think soreness is beneficial?
I 100% recommend.
Nein, Urs hätte noch gegen Dauda und die ganzen Jungs und Nick Walker, ich glaube, keine Chance. Ich weiß nicht. Aber ich weiß, dass Urs, wenn er wollen würde, könnte der nächstes Jahr da, glaube ich, einige Leute nass machen. Weil er limitiert sich ja, was den Wachstum angeht, durch sein Gewichtslimit, ne? Der befindet sich in der Off-Season nicht mal bei 4000 Kalorien und wächst wie Unkraut. Stell dir mal vor, du gibst ihm noch mehr Kalorien, noch mehr Stoff, keine Ahnung. Dann könnte der, ich denke, der könnte schon in der Open safe mitmischen. Top 10 wäre drin.
I recommend using soreness as a guide. So what I would say, if you're sore, you went too hard automatically.
Okay.
Anytime you're feeling sore the next day, that DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, gone too hard. Then train easier than last time.
Okay.
Narrow it down. Now, if you train and you're not sore at all, but you're making gains, then do that. Because that's the minimum amount of work you need to do to make progress. Why would you train harder? Progressive.
Für mich ist auch eine Mischung aus HIIT und Volumentraining das Beste. Reines HIIT, Push-Pull-Beine finde ich auch nicht geil auf Dauer. Reines Volumentraining auf Dauer auch nicht. Ich mache wirklich eine Mischung draus.
From there. But if you're not making any progress and you're not sore, train harder than last time.
Okay.
That's the best way and easiest way to just go into the gym and guide your own training if you don't have a coach.
It's great to have some pros here, especially pros like Greg, which also coaches, and trained for how many years? 25.
37 years of training.
37 Jahre trainiert der. Kann mal einer herausfinden, wie alt Coach Greg ist? Würde mich mal interessieren.
It doesn't even make sense. I'm that old. So we're doing one arm at a time, tricep press downs.
Do you like unilateral work?
I never do them.
Never?
For me, I like doing both arms at the same time. It saves time. So one arm at a time, it's like, okay, then I got to do the other, so it adds more time. I do my full body 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And so I go from one machine to the next,
47, okay.
next. And so if I have to do one arm at a time, it's adding some time.
Yeah.
And I find I push harder on the first arm. And then when I get to the next arm, mentally I'm a little taxed.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend? Start with like the weak side first. Like my left tricep.
Ich habe nicht gehört, wann der angefangen hat zu pumpen oder sonst. Deswegen.
Way smaller because of that
I would
bike
start
accident.
with the left side.
Start with the left side and then go to the right. And
Danke für die Bits, mein Lieber.
how much do you rest between sets here?
I rest a lot, so I go left, you go left, because of the breath you need to take. Because I see most of the mistakes guys doing. They go right side, doing 20 reps, bang it on. Then they go to left side, and then after 8 they are done because they don't have enough rest.
Macht immer mal eine kleine Pause zwischen den Sätzen, wenn ihr einarmig trainiert. Ja? Seien es 30 Sekunden, aber bis dass eure Atmung wenigstens wieder ein bisschen reguliert ist. Ganz wichtig. Und an dieser Stelle gibt es eine ganz kurze Werbeunterbrechung. Falls ihr mich supporten möchtet, Freunde, besucht auf jeden Fall esn.com, denn dort sichert ihr euch mit dem Rabattcode William immer den besten Deal. Unter anderem beispielsweise auf ein leckeres Designer Whey Protein. Und schaut auch unbedingt auf Oasis vorbei. Da findet ihr beispielsweise dieses wunderschöne Tanktop und auch andere geile Klamotten, die ihr auch im Alltag anwenden könnt. Ebenfalls Rabattcode William. Alle Links wie immer in der Videobeschreibung und weiter geht's mit dem Video.
For the whole system.
And so basically, rest as long as you need.
So yeah,
like if
yeah,
it's,
for
if it's
me,
1 minute, it's 1. If it's 4, it's
but
4.
I like to go faster. I like to push it, and when the moment comes, I'm getting cold in the gym. I'm done.
Ja, habe ich gesehen, Tobi. Sehr beeindruckend.
But you have great cardio, though. You're saying your resting heart rate is around 38.
It is great. Yeah.
That's unbelievable. And so maybe
dying.
you just have the genetics for being amazing
genetics.
at cardio and being able to lift weights.
But what are your top 3 triceps exercises?
Tricep press down for sure, but I wouldn't use it with one arm. But I mean, it doesn't mean it's not for you.
And you would go like this or more in front of it?
I try to keep my elbows as close to the sides as possible.
Just look at those guts.
Without like really if you don't swing a little bit, if you don't cheat at all, you're limiting how far you can go.
Yeah.
Like if you
Ich habe heute noch Arme trainiert, deswegen gerade sehr
do
interessant.
perfect technique, like people will be like, oh, I need perfect technique. No one lifts like that. In the real world, no one does perfect technique with no weight.
You need
if you
those
swing
cheat
a
reps.
little bit at the end, the cheat reps,
Armen.
you're going to be able to push that much further. And so training to failure with perfect technique, you're not actually training to true failure. It's just like, yeah, I'm training to failure, but what if you swing it a little bit?
Feels right, I would say, right?
For a beginner, that's exactly how you should train. You should train like with the perfect technique until you gather like the
Dann erst kann man das Gewicht wählen, also erhöhen und auf Gewicht gehen, wenn man erst die Technik beherrscht. Vorher auf keinen Fall, Digga, niemals.
you get used to it and you can do that a bit better, but when you're a professional or even if you're an intermediate, you gotta like cheat a
No
little
professional trains like.
bit. Like you really think
perfect.
they're gonna do bicep curls against the wall and not bend at all for every single rep? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Doch, bei Johannes, der macht nämlich immer die Strict Curls Battles, da braucht man
do
das.
maybe the first 8 strict and then you're gonna just a little bit.
I trained with Jay after the T-bow,
Yeah.
and he looked at me and he was like, "You're training way too good," you know?
Yeah, exactly.
He
So
said,
there
like,
is such a thing
yeah.
as training too perfectly.
And-
Your form is too perfect.
Yeah, and I did like dumbbell rows with him, and I felt his back, and it connected perfectly.
Yeah.
So you see those guys training, Ronnie doing this fucking heavy weights, crazy amount of muscle, but he controls every part of it, and that's what you said.
And so in reality, if you see someone training with picture perfect technique from the first rep to the last rep, they're just training too light.
Das geht nicht, weil am Ende geht deine Technik immer ein bisschen den Bach runter. Und ich finde, man sollte nicht direkt aufhören, wenn man merkt, okay, ich kriege jetzt keine saubere Wiederholung mehr hin. 3 erzwungene Wiederholungen, sage ich, sind völlig legitim, sind völlig okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Like
Good
you're
work.
saying, oh, great
Yeah.
job, perfect technique.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're only putting 30 pounds on the bar instead of 100. That's why it looks perfect.
It is.
And when people demonstrate, when bodybuilders usually demonstrate exercises, they put their warm-up weight and they show how perfect it is. They don't show the actual
Yeah.
set. When you put on more weight, it starts to get sloppy. All right, so try to guide me here. Do you want me to have my foot up? Whatever's comfortable?
Yeah.
Literally, it doesn't matter. If you feel good like this and you want it like, or you feel good like this,
Trainieren die auch ein bisschen oder passiert hier gar nichts mehr?
just do what you need to do. You want to
Aber geiler Griff, habe ich auch noch nie gesehen, so für so einen einarmigen Griff, so ein Ding.
keep your core tight.
Yeah.
You
I like
want
to
this
put the hand here also.
that can brace
This one.
yourself, get you
Yeah.
more leverage.
Stay really tight.
Important
you
to have that at least at 90 degrees. Some
Yeah.
people, if you're only
Einfach Tutorial bei Mr. Olympia, Platz 3 für Trizeps Kabel Pushdown, Digga.
going like this, you're not getting the most out of it. You want to get some stretch because for the muscle to get bigger, you want to have it stretch and contract. And so by raising it higher, you're getting the stretch and then you contract hard. And I recommend pausing at the bottom. What do you
Yeah.
think about the pause, or do you just kind
I
of
love it. No, I go with.
pause, squeeze?
I also do a little pause at the top end of the back end of the motion.
so that you don't have the stretch
So
reflex.
I always have like here
yeah.
a little pause, there, and then maybe when I start my cheat course, I go a little bit more, like, but always have a little break in the squeeze.
And so two great reasons why that's effective is because it's reducing the risk of injury, because
Yeah.
when you come up and you just use momentum, it's going to really increase the risk of injury.
You
And
need to use good momentum. That's the.
Ich habe auch lange Zeit den Trizeps nie richtig gedehnt. Ich habe immer auf 90 Grad trainiert. Früher wurde uns halt so gesagt damals im McFit. Richtig schlimm. Jetzt kompletten Squeeze mitnehmen, ganzen Stretch mitnehmen, alles. 1000-mal besser.
That's the
Nicht so wie Thunfisch vorhin, ne? Aber so wie er gerade gezeigt hat, das ist schon ordentlich.
thing.
And if you pause the weight, it's going to be that much harder.
Alles wegfliegen, Joachim. Alles war weg, direkt nach einer halben Stunde. Die meisten Sachen, nicht alles, aber die vielen, die Kassenschlager waren weg.
Yeah.
You have to work harder at the start,
Ich sag ja nicht umsonst, ihr müsst schnell sein. Ja, es ist einfach so.
because if you just let it bounce,
It
it's
is.
just you're making it easier, and
And
that's
for
what we're trying to do.
bodybuilding, you need to make the weight as hard as possible.
Exactly. And technically, almost by definition, ego lifting is when you're trying to put more weight than you need to have.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you're putting on an extra 20 pounds, but then you're swinging it. Just put the weight down and do it right. I like to go faster on the way down and slower on the way up. So hard here and take my time here.
Ich mag auch die erste normale explosiv und die exzentrische dann zum Beispiel in Slow ist auch sehr geil. Beim Beinbeuger zum Beispiel liegend sehr, sehr cool.
Ja.
Hard down,
Control
take my time
negative,
here.
that's it.
And so for me, I'd rather have two arms. That's just my personal, it
Good
doesn't mean
point.
there's
No.
anything wrong with it. But for me, if you're trying to save times, just do them at the same time.
So, Freunde, also, man sieht auf jeden Fall, wie kann das sein, dass sich Urs hier Top 3 Mr. Olympia Kurva Tipps abholt von Coach Greg für eine Trizepsübung. Hätte ich ja mal gar nicht gedacht. Nein, Spaß, ist natürlich geil. Urs holt sich von jedem, habe ich auch gerade gesagt, von jedem Tipps auf der ganzen Welt, von allen Profis, Leuten, die über 30 Jahre am Eisen sind. Deswegen ist auch Urs so erfolgreich, wie er ist. Nicht nur auf der Bühne, sondern auch, was das Social Media Game angeht, Freunde. Vielen, vielen lieben Dank fürs Zuschauen, Freunde. Und falls ihr mich supporten möchtet, schaut auf jeden Fall bei esn.com vorbei. Mit Rabattcode William sichert ihr euch wie immer den allerbesten Deal. Beispielsweise auf ein leckeres Isoclear. Aktuell trinke ich sehr gerne im Sommer den Raspberry-Geschmack. Gebt mir noch 2 Wochen.com, ist jetzt online. Da könnt ihr euch aktuell 3 verschiedene geile Designs sichern. Alle Links wie immer in der Videobeschreibung. Und falls ihr auf der Straße oder im Gym den Dicken machen wollt, schaut unbedingt bei oace.com ab, denn dort habt ihr auch immer den besten Deal mit Rabattcode William. Da gibt es zum Beispiel diese wunderschönen Tanktops, womit ihr wirklich im Gym aussieht wie eine brutale Maschine. Vielen lieben Dank fürs Zuschauen. Schaut auf jeden Fall auch 3-mal die Woche bei Twitch vorbei um 20:30 Uhr, Montag, Mittwoch, Freitag sind wir online. Alle Links in der Videobeschreibung. Vielen lieben Dank und bis zum nächsten Mal.